This week I'm gonna show you guys how I added Bluetooth foot controls for my Xi3 kayak trolling motor so I can control the kayak with my feet and control the fish with my hands. Y'all stick around. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, my name's TJ. Welcome to Kayak USA. So like I just mentioned, I have finally figured out how I wanted to add the wireless foot control Bluetooth pedal system for my Xi3 on the kayak. So I am from a bass boat world. You know, I grew up running a trolling motor off the front of a bass boat, and I'm really good at fishing with both hands and operating the trolling motor and moving the boat where I need it. But when we added this to the kayak, you have to steer it with my remote here, and it causes a lot of trouble trying to figure out how to fish. If the kayak starts drifting, you got to stop reeling and control it. It's a big mess. So today I'm going to show you what I come up with to be able to use a bass boat style foot pedal in my kayak, and we should be able to fish hands-free. And I'm going to show you how I made it removable and why I put it where I put it and everything like that. But before we get into that, I do have a sponsor for this week's video, and that is Energizer. They wanted me to share with you their new portable power station. So I was raised, if you think of a battery name, the first name that you think of is gonna be the Energizer battery. I always think of that little pink rabbit that just keeps going and going and going. Anyway, Energizer finally hopped onto the portable power station scene. And if you know me, I've got portable power banks. I love them. I use them for camping, fishing, traveling. Anytime I leave the house, usually, if I'm in my truck, I've got a portable power bank with me. This is Energizer's new portable power station. So this is a 100 amp hour, and as you can see, I'm lifting it with one hand. This is a 100 amp hour. It's got a LiFePO 4 battery in it. This thing is amazing. Is it LiFePO 4? Yeah, it is LiFePO 4. I wanted to make sure that was right. But it's got two USB 3.0 ports, USB-C port, and this is all for outgoing, so you can charge your laptops, your cell phones. This thing will last you for so long if you're just charging phones and stuff like that with one of these. I've had this in my truck for a week, and I've used it a couple of times already, and it's still at 99%. But it's got a DC power for a laptop if you want to plug your Mac right in there and charge it up while you're camping to use it. But it also accepts solar hookup, so you can charge this thing with a solar bank. And like I said, it weighs nothing. It's got a couple of AC ports on the side that you can plug regular outlets to. It's got your DC cigarette lighter 12-volt style port on the side right beside it. It's even got a very bright, let's see if I can turn this light on, very bright LED light. And it's got a bunch of different dims, and it's got the little strobe mode. But this thing is really cool. Like I've mentioned 2 or 3 times already, it is super lightweight. It's really small, it's really convenient, and it's a brand that everybody knows. Everybody who's watching this knows who Energizer is. You know they are a battery company, so it just makes sense for them to offer a portable power station now. So I'm gonna have this linked in the video description. If I've got a promo code, which I think they did send me, I'll put it right next to it, but those links will be below this video in the description. Thank you, Energizer, for sponsoring this week's video. Now let's get back to it. So right off the bat, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is the way I've done this and designed this for my kayak. It's gonna work for all of you Hobie Pro Angler guys that has the original Mirage drive. There's ways that you can adapt this if you're in a different kayak, which I know many of you do not fish out of Hobies. There's so many different brand boats out there. Everybody loves them. I still love all the other brands, the Natives, the Vibes, all the good kayaks that I have always loved. But this is my new kayak, so I wanted to design this so that it was easy for me to get on and off. Now, you can modify this, like I said, to adjust it to fit your boat, but today's videos, I'm gonna show you how it works with the Hobie Pro Angler. So if you got a Mirage drive and you wanna add this, if you've already got the Xi3 or a foot-controlled, trolling motor, it's got the Bluetooth pedal, this will work for you. So the first thing I wanted to do is make sure that I could operate it from a seated position, that I did not have to stand up while I was fishing out of my kayak. I can stand up, and that is one of my favorite things about this Pro Angler is I have all of this space in this room. I can stand up and kind of walk around a little bit and fish when I'm on it, but I didn't want to only be able to operate my Xi3 trolling motor while I was standing. I wanted to be able to sit down, flip docks, you know, from a bass boat point of view, when I'm on the bow of my boat and I'm operating my trolling motor, I can use two hands, and once you do it for so long, it just becomes natural. It just clicks that you can zigzag in between docks, you can flip banks, you can get back into coves, and you never even really think about it. You're just moving the boat around. And then when you set the hook on a fish, you can tap that spot lock button or anchor, you know, boat right there on the spot, and you can fight the fish, get it in with no problems. I wanted to be able to do that with this because I found myself here lately, you know, these things have a great remote system for them, and they're designed to hang around your neck so that you can operate the trolling motor while you're fishing. But when you're doing it from a kayak, and I even noticed that Fluke Master, he struggles with it sometimes. He keeps his remote in his pocket, and when he's running it around, if you're flipping docks and you're just trying to, when I fish tournaments, I come up to a long row of docks and say I want to fish every one of them. And when I do, I want to go up and down beside each dock, flip up under it as far as I can, and I want to fish it as fast as possible if I'm fishing a tournament. When I do set the hook on a fish, I want to be able to stop my boat on the spot and fight that fish, get it in, and do what I got to do. And doing it with a remote control like this around your neck, or even the way I have mine now is kind of strapped to my handrail, it's a pain in the butt. I don't know if I've got any footage of me fighting fish, but I've caught a few fish, and then, or I'm trying to keep a buzz bait on top of the water. As soon as the boat starts moving, I have to stop. And if you're trying to keep a lure on top, you're trying to keep it buzzed up, so I got to keep pulling it, and then I reach over and hit the button and try to get the kayak to turn. And that's even when I'm in spot lock mode. You know, I can hit the anchor button, anchor this kayak in one spot, but if you're on the river, there's big waves, there's wind, your boat is gonna spin around. These aren't huge bass boats. These are just lightweight kayaks, and they will move around on you whether you're spot locked or not. So anyway, I wanted to be able to do that by feet only, just like a bass boat, so I could focus more on the fishing and enjoy it a lot more. So what I decided to do was I wanted it at an angle. It has to be at a good, I don't know the degree, but it had to be a good angle so that when I'm seated, I can have it up at an angle. And I wanted it originally to be on one side of the kayak. So I've got my Mirage Drive here, but when I'm out, when I'm not using it, if I'm using my trolling motor, I take this out, it goes in the back. So that leaves me with all of this space. And I was trying to figure out, okay, do I want this open space in the middle, or do I want it to the right side where my right foot is? That's the foot I use to run the trolling motor. It'd be good over there. Well, then I started putting it there and testing it out, and when I tried to use it, there was no really good way of having it mounted without it being pushed over. When I tried to, push my heel over, it was sliding up against things. And then if I permanently mount it over there, it's just gonna be always in the way. I wouldn't be able to use my horizontal rod storage on the sides. It would just be in the way over there. So I said, all right, let me figure out how to put it in the middle, but I want it to be removable. This is what I come up with. I know that was a lot of talk. I just wanted to build it up to show you what I come up with. So this is my solution to the problem, and I'll show you some close-up footage of it here in a minute. But what this is the Motor Guide XI3 Bluetooth foot control. You can get it on Amazon. I'll link it below if you're wondering where it's, where you get one at. They got them on Amazon finally. They were out for a while, and that's why this video took so long, but they finally got them back in stock, and I got it in last week. And what I come up with though was this is a chalk I got one right here. This is a tire chalk that I use for my trailers. You can get them at Walmart. And I looked at it and I was like, man, that is almost the angle that I need in order to be able to pop that pedal up at an angle so that I can operate it from a seated position. And then what I did, so I bolted this just like this to the bottom of my foot pedal. And I didn't have to drill any big holes or anything like that. I used some existing bolts that were there. I just kind of lined them up, drilled the holes into the plastic part of this little foot chalk or wheel chalk, and just bolted it straight back to the bottom of this. So it's locked on there. On my cassette, that's what, I believe these are called Hobie cassettes or plugs or whatever you want to call them. These go into your Mirage Drive. And when you click them in, they create a flat floor so you don't have water coming up through when you're running, not running the Mirage Drive. If I'm running the trolling motor, I'd pop that cassette in there and it would keep it nice and dry for my feet. But now you see what I've got here. I've got my foot control wireless foot pedal for my Xi3 in the center of my floor. Now, I didn't think I wanted it there at the beginning, but after putting it there and realizing that that is the perfect spot for it, because when I'm not operating it, my feet are still in a rested position. They're on both sides. And let me get some shots for you really quick. I got another camera going, I might as well use it, huh? All right. And this is what it looks like from the seated position. So I've got it put right here, and I attached it. I guess I need to show you how I attached this while I'm here. So I just used the original bolts that were already back here, drilled a couple of holes. It's just 3 holes. And then you got your mounting one right here in the center, drilled a hole there. But in order to get this attached to the cassette, I just used heavy duty Velcro. I put the soft Velcro on the cassette and the more, you know, the rough side or the loop side or whatever on the bottom of the wheel chalk, and it locked it on there. I was actually gonna pull it off for the video and show you guys, but it acted like I was breaking a sweat trying to pop it off. So I ain't gonna pull it off. I'm just gonna leave it there. But as you can see, it pops in, locks into position, and now I have the perfect setup for operating this trolling motor. The sad thing is I haven't got a chance to put it on the water and test it. I did sit out here for a couple of hours once I figured out the angle was right and where I wanted it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna climb up here right now. But I sat out here in the garage for a couple of hours testing it out the spots. I even pulled my kayak back on the trailer. I'm gonna do that now for y'all. As long as I don't hit my motorcycle back there, let's see. Is that in frame? I believe that is in frame. Let me show you guys really quick. This is kind of a random video, but I do want you to see it. For those of you who want to add foot steering. All right. So what I do is I plug up my trolling motor, which I probably should have done before I hopped up here. Plug up the trolling motor. You hold the anchor button down for 2 seconds, I believe. Let me grab it so the camera. And now, if you can see, this is how I would naturally be. Oh, hold on, it's got to grab, there it goes. I didn't have it seated. But now I can fish and I can control the trolling motor with the heel of my foot. I can change the speeds. I don't know if you can hear it, but the motor is running. I can hit the spot lock button. I can hit the constant button where it just takes off by itself. Everything is right at my foot. Now I will say that the springs on these foot pedals do come, they do come a little stiff. So I don't know if I'm just gonna have to keep working with it, because they're designed to be flat and you're putting all your weight on it on a boat, so they make the springs really stiff so they last longer. So when I'm going back, there's no problem. When I go forward, as you can see, I gotta push forward just a little bit harder than I do going back, but I can really control this thing with no problem at all. And one of my favorite things is now I have all of this room here. And then when I get to where I'm going, if I do want to just use my remote here, I can still just reach down and use my remote. Adding the foot pedal doesn't affect having the remote on here at all. And then if I want to do even more, I just click this up. I can pull my foot pedal out and it will fit in the front hatch of my kayak with no problem at all. This is going to be awesome. I wish the weather was better, because I would actually be out on the water with you guys testing this out. But it doesn't look like it's going to be in this video. It looks like it's gonna rain for the next 3 days here. It's been doing nothing but raining here in Alabama this past week. So I am gonna take it out probably this weekend. I think Saturday it's supposed to be good for at least the morning. So we're gonna test this thing out, see if I gotta tweak it. A cool thing about using this Velcro is if I get out there and the foot pedal is at a position where I don't want it, I put Velcro all the way across the top half of this cassette. So I can peel this up and slide it closer to me or further away from me if need be. The only thing is like I said, the springs, you can see it's still turning, I got it on still, but the springs on these things are really, really stiff. So I may end up, I don't know, we'll see after I take it out on the water if it bothers me with it being as stiff as it is. I always could take the springs out, either take a little bit off the spring or weaken it a little bit or put a weaker spring in or something like that, but we'll see. But I thought it was really, really cool the way it just pops in the center, and I don't have to have it mounted to the side. I don't have to permanently mount this thing. One downfall, I guess you would say, this way would be if I am standing and I want to operate it while standing, it's at an angle and it would be a little bit awkward, you know, versus having it flat like it's supposed to be. But I don't think I would want to be slinging this little kayak around standing on this, you know, 32-inch wide platform out there anyway. So if I'm operating the foot pedal, I'm gonna wanna be in a seated position anyway. So I think this is gonna work out really well. Yeah, I guess that's gonna do it for this week's video, guys. I just wanted to share it with you. I promise you I'll have some footage coming very soon of me using this on the water. We're gonna take it out. I'll show you how it works. If you guys are interested in it, let me know in the comments, and you know, I'll do some Instagram videos and stuff for you guys to show you how well it works out there. If you've got any other ideas about how I could have done this different, or if there's a better way for your kayak, or if you got any questions I can help you with, feel free to hit me up in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys watching this week, and I'll catch you next Thursday at 2 o'clock. Peace.